Hi, Gunjan. Thank you so much for coming. I'm
Thank you
so
so
happy.
much for
So
having me.
I'm so happy that you came. You're an assistant director in the Hindi film industry,
Yeah.
and you worked on various films and ad films. You worked as an assistant director in Gully Boy, which is one of my favorite films, and I know that you know how much I love it. Then,
Yeah, I do.
so what many people won't know is that you graduated from Lasalle College of the Arts, Singapore. There's a lot that I want to understand about your journey, how you got to where you are today. You've been in this industry for a very long time now, right? And
6 years now. I graduated LaSalle in 2014 and I
right,
moved here like a month later.
a
So
month later, right.
literally, like I spent no time in like for transitioning.
How was that journey like, after you graduated from LaSalle and when you entered the industry? How did you sort of enter?
It was sort of honestly, like you can call it a culture shock, a huge culture shock, because I grew up watching Bollywood, and that's obviously that gives you this one perspective, and then suddenly you go to film school, and the way we were taught and what we were taught, it was more of the Western way of filmmaking, which was great because I came back with a completely fresh set of eyes and with a completely outsider's point of view. In those 3 years we were taught like system, and we were taught organization, and we were taught like discipline, a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And because I mean we had 95% attendance to not get thrown out of the school, which is nuts, because everybody I came back to went to like these state colleges where they barely ever went to college, you
Yeah.
know. So I mean we had 95% attendance, so whether we were hungover or still drunk or like dying with some illness, we still had to go.
Yep.
So I mean, and you know, in honesty, that really worked well for me, because that kind of discipline, I kind of just came and I focused that here. And I mean, so you know, you get mixed reactions. Like you do get the film school snob kind of reaction, and you do get the also this person doesn't know anything about Bollywood kind of reaction. And but then you also get, like, as you start venturing into different, like amongst different people, you kind of do get the, okay, so they've been taught the way of discipline, the idea of 95% attendance, waking up at 7 in the morning and going for
Yeah.
a class where you have to sit and you have to watch really old silent films for 3 hours early in the morning and have to stay awake for it with
Yeah.
Maria. Maria, I love you, but like, there was stuff.
But
Yeah.
it's very difficult to sort of enter the industry. Like after you
Yeah.
finish your film school, how does a student get into the industry? What was your journey like?
You know, that's what's really surprising, because for me, somehow, I'm not even from Bombay. I don't like have family and friends who are from Bombay. I had a list of production houses that I loved. Like, I know you did the same thing, like production houses that I loved and I really wanted to work with, and I just started emailing them. And you know, it's not something that people just ignore. Like, they will, like, especially with interns fresh out of school, people do respond, and people will give you that like, it's your CV and how you sell it, which is something they taught us in film school, which was great. I actually blew my first meeting where I went with a production house that I loved, and I did eventually end up working with in the future. I was this nervous wreck of a kid fresh out of college and completely taken in by this production house because it was my favorite. Like, this was 6 years ago. And I was like a wreck, as confident and as I was trying to portray myself to be. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm totally confident. I've got this. I was a wreck, okay? And I have blown that meeting and I've said such stupid things that I could see the judgment in their eyes, and they're just like, who is this child? We don't want them working here. Get out. So that does happen, and I was so like, oh no, what did I do? I blew it. I'm never gonna get to work with them again. Oh my god, I'll never make films in my life. I do have to admit, when I first came in, I was extremely naive, like, about I didn't know how anything worked, and I thought, oh my god, I'm like this little like, just I don't know anything. But turns out I could have been a lot more confident, because now that I think about it, I'm like, wow, those guys who were then my seniors didn't actually know much, and I did end up knowing a lot more than them.
Yeah. Has film school sort of helped you in the industry? I mean, in the career?
Definitely, definitely. It's something which Maybe not in the past couple of years, but at least for the first 4 years of my working life, I would constantly refer to. Like I know there are a lot of people who actually disagree with me, because for them it wasn't something that they got to apply in real life. But for me, it was something I constantly referred back to. Like, I've worked with all kinds of production houses. I've worked on all sorts of films. You work on productions which are very stringent with paperwork, and they want everything on point and organized.
Yeah.
And then there are people who just couldn't care less. Like, you want them to at least make the basic call sheet when you actually have the information to make it, but they'll be like, no, let's wait till the last moment because maybe something changes. But no, you have to put your foot down and say, no, things will not change. Like, you do not get to change things after this.
Right.
But so the thing is, where what we were taught in film school is, it's the right way. But when you come here, there's kind of no right or wrong. It's all diluted. To me personally, I think it helped a lot.
People in general have no idea about what ADs do. Many people. Uh, they feel like an AD is someone who assists the director. And on a set, there are many different kinds of ADs, right? First, second, third. Can you tell me about like what all of these roles are like? What?
So, okay, this is something which till date, it's been 6 years, and my parents still ask me every time I'm starting a new project. My parents are like, so what are you doing on this one? So what does that mean? So what does this one do? It's just something which is so fluid. Okay, honestly, different directors and different production houses kind of work with their own way. Like, I have worked with directors who give a lot of creative freedom to the ADs. So like, each AD kind of gets allotted a department that they're looking after.
Right.
So for example, while the first is running the set and scheduling the film and overlooking everything, the first might also take on something as the primary cast. Like, they might be the one liaising with the primary cast of the film. Now there can be one second who does the paperwork, the call sheets, who on set, like during shoot, is at base handling forward. They're doing forward prep for the next day or the second half of the day, or they're just doing paperwork. A second is somebody who's handling flat out the hair, makeup, wardrobe, and the actors. They're liaising with everything that's actor related, like be it their look tests, their costume changes, and the thirds are usually in charge of the background, like the extras, the background, which on most films can be really hectic and like a huge deal, because I mean, it's a whole industry in itself. And like, of course, and there are departments like SFX, VFX, action, vehicles. So that kind of gets split in between the seconds and maybe the thirds. Some ADs, they stay back for post, which to me, I think is actually my favorite part of it. I've only done that on one film, but it was so much fun. And like, post is just, you maybe come home if you're lucky, you get to brush your teeth and take a shower and then go back to the studio, and your most nights will be spent on the couch when it's close to release. So when I did post, it was two of us ads who were on post. One was constantly with music and I was constantly on VFX. So when I was handling VFX, it's kind of like you have a whole list of the director's wish list of what they want fixed and what they really do want. And then there's like stock footage. There's, okay, if we need a plate for, say, like, so we shot a lot of cricket on Azhar, so we didn't get to shoot in the stadiums that we necessarily wanted to shoot at. So a lot of the stadiums were created in VFX. So now we have to then look for that kind of footage, look for those kind of plates, kind of put it all together. So you're just kind of coordinating constantly, because the director's not like, they don't have the time to sit in the VFX studio day and night, right? And also because, I mean, the VFX supervisor will kill them, like, if they're constantly on their heads for, I want this, I want that. So it's just, you're kind of like, you're just coordinating, you're flat out coordinating. And if you're lucky and if you're working with the kind of people who give you the freedom for it, you get to have a lot of inputs. Like, you can just be like, yeah, but sir, don't you think this would be better than that? Like, don't you think this works? Sir, I don't think this works.
So an AD is not about just bringing coffee. It's a lot more.
I have actually, yeah, that's a huge misconception.
Yeah.
And so when people say that you have to connect a lot, You do, in all honesty, you do have to connect a lot, you do have to be meeting people. And no, I don't mean socialize and party at all, although a lot of people mistake that for connecting in the industry. That's not really it. As you work with people, you kind of just have to constantly make them feel like you're like bankable.
Networking, like that transition that
Like
happened.
networking through work. Don't like it's like a lot of people think networking is to be done socially, and a lot of people do try that, in all honesty. But no one's gonna give you a film just because you party a lot with them. So networking is great. You need to be able to network with the right people. Um, at the beginning I used to put a lot of effort into just pleasing everybody, like pleasing the directors and pleasing, like, you just kind of want everybody to think that you're very hardworking. Hardworking is not going to get you a film, a contract as a director. Say only after Gully Boy did I kind of take a break, and I was like, I need to focus on my script now, and I want to start writing, because since college, like since Lasalle, I hadn't written a script, not even like a short film, because you just get so sucked into the world of work. You're just working, and you kind of forget that at some point you want to get back to writing a script and eventually directing it.
So you're writing a script now?
I am at this point, honestly, no. I'm kind of, this whole lockdown has been a roller coaster ride for me. I don't want to wake up and write a script which will probably never get produced. Of the ADs I know, they're just like, um, we don't think that anyone's going to bank on new talent right now. Like they want to, like when people will be bouncing back from this, which is, I mean, the period starts now. People are going to want to make sure that it's reliable names, and like, okay, an established director who we know will bring in the revenue, not a new kid who we just want to give a chance to.
So what all films have you worked on? I didn't know you worked on Tiger. That
I did the second one, Tiger Zinda Hai.
okay.
I did that. That was fun. I did that one right before Gully Boy. I was second on that as well. It was honestly like, that to me was the film that kind of changed my way of working, and way of just um, how people get work done from you, and what kind of work you are willing to do happily. It was a great experience. I learned so much from that film, honestly. It was a massive scale film, like it was huge. We started the film working with wild wolves in Austria, and we ended the film um, shooting in the middle of the desert in Abu Dhabi.
When you say you learned a lot, like in terms of management, like managing skills and stuff, okay, right, right.
Because I saw some horrible management skills and I saw some great management skills. And by that time, you've kind of had enough experience to be able to tell the wrong from the right. On that set, it was this Hollywood action team, which was on point in terms of organizing things and safety and protocols and stuff which we didn't even know existed. We were like working with choppers, and we were working with like huge explosions, and like this stuff, even though it lasts for 3 seconds on screen, there's a lot of work that goes behind it.
Which experiences have been your best experiences in terms of being an AD on these films? Which of the films that you could say?
Gully Boy, hands down.
Why?
Hands down. Because I was finally seeing the knowledge that I'd received in filmmaking being put to use, and being put to use so well, where not only did you love the way you worked, but you also loved what was being made from it. Like, say, on Tiger, we had to come back 2 hours before everybody else's call time. We had to stay back 3 hours after everybody had gone back home. We had no concept of rest, and it's just okay because that's just how it is. And but that's not how it should be. And I came from a film which was Tiger, on which we were working for 16 to 18 hours on certain days, and even on off days it would not be an off day, because you would be called in for a meeting for no reason at all, and made to sit and made to wait. And I'm not saying that these were bad things about the film. These are actually very sadly normal things which do happen. So right after that, when I go to a film like Gully Boy, and you are so respected as a person and an individual, where if you've shown up 2 hours early, like 2 hours before the call time, you were sent home 2 hours early because your 12 hours are up. And I've never experienced that on any other set. And till date, if I tell people in the industry about how well um, every person on that set was treated, no one believes you. Like they're just like, this is like a dreamland.
Yeah.
We made it with so much love. It really, we call it a labor of love because we all made it with so much love. And
Right.
when people love that film, it makes us so happy because we are so proud of it. Like,
Yeah.
it makes
You
me
should
so proud
be.
to have worked on it.
Such a good film. So, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
It's been so amazing talking to you, and I really can't wait to watch a film that is directed by you. And I
I
can't wait.
can't either. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye.